to significantly reduce open burning. And today we are with experts and our friends from the Asian countries to share their knowledge, expertise, also their problems to find a solution, how we can reduce open burning of waste management. Then let me ask Rajiv to introduce our webinar. So Rajiv, please go ahead.
Thank you, Honda-san. Let me share my screen. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. And yeah, it's a pleasure having you all here participating in this Open Waste webinar on the Earth Day. So as many of you might have some experience of practicing or observing the open waste burning in backyard or your community or during your travel to some places. However, you might not have considered or thoughts of impacts of open burning to the climate, environment, or human health. So as mentioned by Honda-san, in today's webinar, we will try to present and discuss the situation of open waste burning in Asia based on our recent study in few Asian cities. And we will also try to explore the impact of open waste burning especially on climate and also human health. So what is open waste burning? So according to IPCC guideline for national greenhouse gas inventories, it is a combustion of unwanted combustible materials. It can be paper, plastics, and all different kind of waste in nature or open dumps where smoke and emissions are released directly into the atmosphere without passing through the stack. It means that it is a burning of waste in a low temperature in an open space where several emissions and pollutions are released into atmosphere, polluting the environment. So this kind of open waste burning practices are very common, especially in developing countries with an inadequate system of solid waste management because it is the cheapest and easiest and most sanitary means of volume reduction and disposal of combustible materials. So now talking about the global scenario, currently 2 billion people globally have no waste collection at all. So the waste of over 3 billion people is either dumped or subjected to uncontrolled burning. And around about 41% of global waste has been burned openly. So that is about 620 million tons of waste per year. So you can see the amount, how big it is. The amount of waste being burned globally. And open burning of waste is mostly happening in developing world due to lack of systematic waste collection services and also unavailable of disposal options. That's what we discussed a while ago. And we can also not neglect the role of informal recyclers who also practice open burning to recover valuable metals by burning different kind of waste. So now talking about what kind of emissions releases when we practice open burning. So open burning, which is typically, which takes place relatively due to the low temperature, when the things are burned in the low temperature, you tend to emit different kind of pollutants such as PM10, PM 2.5. So this PM stands for particulate matter. Especially these are very small particles, hard to observe by your naked eyes and can only be observed only by electron microscope. However, it has a huge impact on your health, especially it can easily get into your lungs. And when the larger PM particles, it can easily get trapped into your nose, mouth, and throat and cause severe health problems. So similarly, different other emissions you can observe from open burning are black carbon, organic carbon, and also different gaseous pollution such as NOx, carbon monoxide, methane, and also non-methane volatile organic compounds. So these all emissions have impact on climate as well as human health. Similarly, open burning of waste results in the emission of wide range of potentially hazardous substances such as mercury, arsenic, sulfuric oxides, hydrochloric acid, and so on. And these all have these all are toxic and have a harmful and these all are harmful to the environment as well as the health of the living beings. Now, talking about the studies being conducted on open burning, there are several studies on ongoing studies on open burning, and here in the slide you can see that we are sharing two recent studies on open burning in Asia, one from Nepal and another from India, and this paper analyzes the different emissions from open waste burning such as SOx, NOx, and also carbon dioxide, methane, and their impacts on human health and environment. Similarly, we also came across to a report by Engineering X during our literature review for our study. And this report includes some study on open burning. And some interesting argument is stated in this chapter, unlike other studies about open burning, which is really a true fact, especially open burning. They argue that the open burning brings a lot of benefits to the people, such as reduction in the mass and volume, malaria mosquito control, and the reduction of odor and bioactivity. As this study highlights the benefit of open burning, it also recommends to conduct further studies to understand the open burning more why open burning is being carried out by different actors, so that the responses can be tailored towards the mitigation of the practices. So, and this could be a very interesting topic for us to discuss and debate during our panel discussion if time allows. And similarly, during our preliminary study and literature review, we also learned that UNIDO has been working with several countries in Asia and Africa. Mostly in Africa, they have been working on mitigation of UPOPs, that stands for unintended persistent organic pollutants from the open waste burning, which are mostly toxic and have severe health risk. However, our study, which was conducted in few cities in Asia, which only focus on black carbon emission and its impact on climate, because there is a lack of scientific evidence for the assurance and mainly the quantitative assessment of black carbon emissions from the open burning and its consequences on the climate change. So black carbon is a pollutant of primarily concern at present, and the warming effect of black carbon has caught the attention of the climate scientists as well as policymakers. So scientists suggest that black carbon is likely to be the second most important contributor after the carbon dioxide to the global warming. And we can see that Climate and Clean Air Coalition, CCAC, are also increasingly highlighting the mitigation of GHG, such as carbon dioxide, which must be conducted together with the near-term measures targeting SLCPs like black carbon in order to ensure average global temperature rise remaining below the 1.5 to 2 degrees Celsius. So we closely work with these two partner cities for our study on open waste burning. One is Padang City from Indonesia, and another is Satungsen City from Cambodia. So briefly, I would like to highlight the steps we followed for our methodology, and yeah, these three major steps we followed for our study and data collection for our open waste burning study in our pilot cities. So selection of study location was done based on the interest, motivation, and need of the study by the city. On this regard, we also received official letters from the city for their request and assistance for this study. And the main goal of our survey was to account for the actual amount of waste burning within the city municipality limit by different stakeholders. So IGS CCT closely work with the local counterparts of each country for organizing the field survey and providing necessary guidance and technical support. And we also conducted series of online training program to develop the required confidence and skills to collect the field data independently, as we are unable to travel to the ground due to our this COVID restrictions. Further, IGS CCT experts were available throughout the study to provide the technical support. And a detailed methodology was developed to gather data in each study locations, and the surveyors followed this methodology in the field to quantify the amount of open waste burning in each selected city. So let me a bit describe the methodology especially applied for the third component. So just to highlight the outline, especially what we did for the third component of the methodology. So open burning of waste, this could occur at the different places in the city. So in order to cover all the burning occurrence, we try to find the key stakeholders or the key areas of open waste burning. And then we identified 6 key areas. And further, the customized questionnaires was designed to gather the data related to waste generation collection and also open waste burning occurrence, and also a detailed methodology for calculating the burning amount was drawn. And similarly, we also listed all the equipments and materials required for our surveyors to conduct survey and data to collect data on the ground. And surveyors were advised to give a proper reference number and use a specific color code to mark every pinpoint of open burning occurrence to avoid any confusion of sampling points when compiling the data. So you can see in the table, in the right-hand side, you can see the color code, and also in the middle, you can see the different code for the sources of the open waste burning. And yeah, similarly, we also use scientific formulas to calculate volume, weight of waste piles being burned or planning to be burned. Based on the result, we estimated the total waste burning under each source. And further, we calculated per capita waste burning from each sources, as well as total amount of black carbon emissions from open burning. And finally, total climate impact caused due to the black carbon emissions from open waste burning was estimated using the published black carbon emission factors from UNEP and other academic publications. So for your information, we are now drafting the journal paper based on our study findings from this open waste burning. And once it is published, we'll upload it into our website, both CCT and IGS website. And we have also already drafted a report, a very comprehensive report based on our study in the Asian cities on this open waste burning. So it is under review, and once it is finalized, we will also upload it on in our website. So if someone is very much interested, please do visit our website in due course of time, and then hopefully we will be able to upload those materials soon. So after my presentation, some of the results from the study will be presented by our local partners in Padang City and Sodongsan City. So I would like to stop here. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajiv, for your introduction and sharing the knowledge and expertise of open waste burning. But among lots of points, so let me pick up 2. There are the positive aspect and the negative aspect on open burning waste. But there are lots of the situations, and we need to have lots of discussion on those points. Positive aspect and the negative aspect. And then based on the Rajiv's knowledge and expertise, so now we have a bit picture of open burning waste and with some technical information. So then let's hear us the practices of open waste burning from the cities. So first, let me invite Mr. Rizuki Adis from the Indonesia. He is representing the Padang City in Indonesia, where it is the pilot city for the study that the Rajiv explained. So Ryuki, you have floor.
Thank you, Dr. Ronda. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for letting me presenting this result of study, the assessment of climate impact from black carbon emission from open burning of solid waste in Padang City. Next. Okay, this figure shows the existing waste flow in Padang City based on the previous collaboration study with IGES and Padang City government. Percentage of waste collection is up to 79.8% of municipal solid waste generation of the city, which is most of the waste ended in the final disposal as 90.69%, while there is about 20.2% the uncollected waste that has potency to be open burn at the source or dumped in the environment, including water bodies. So next, this study aimed to define the unknown data of the open burning activity in Padang City at the source of the waste and also at the final disposal. But in this study, there was no open burning happen in the final disposal. Next. This picture shows the waste composition of the solid waste in Padang City, which is dominated by the organic waste, including food waste as 45.24% and also garden waste as 6.74%. And the next one is plastics, around 28.10%, and also paper, around 7.47%. Next. Next. So based on the data and also the previous, please. Yes, this one. This study for the sample is collected from the 4 districts of Padang City, which is Bungus, Teluk Kabu, Padang Utara, Lubuk Kilangan, and Nanggalo, by 20 household samples, 22 commercial centers, 20 institutions, and 20 spots of burning in the roadside or park. So the representative area are extrapolated for the whole city and found the total potency of open burning in Padang City was about 75.8 tons per day. As the population 2,000 people, so when we divide it into the capita, it is around 0.077 kg per capita per day. So in only 11.47% of the generated waste is burned at the source. 56% of waste be burned on the previous figure. Next. Next, please. Okay, this table shows the calculation of the emission of carbon and related climate impact, as explained by Mr. Rajiv before in this and also from UNEP and European investment So in this study, we can see here the emission of black carbon was kg per day. And we don't have the dot here. And we can see at the right side of the table. By considering the average global warming potential value of the black carbon in 100-year time horizon, we get the climate impact from the BC emission is around 299,000 kg CO2 equivalent per daily burn waste. And the last at the end on the right side, we can see the climate impact from black carbon emission from annually burned waste in Padang. It is about 109,000 tons CO2 equal per year. Next. Here we can see if we consider the contribution from the all solid waste generation source of the Padang City, household is the highest contributor to the BC emission and also the climate impact. It is around 95.1%. And the second one is from the public places, around 2.6%, and also from the commercial centers, around 2% of the total climate impact. Next. In summary, for the key finding of this study, first, the 95% of the estimated climate impact caused by the burning waste is contributed by the household level. And the remaining impact come from the commercial center, institution, and also public places. And in the, if we see in the yearly, it is around 109,000 tons CO2 equivalent per year. That's all for this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ritsuki. So I now realize that there are the impact on climate change due to the black carbon emissions from open burning waste. And it is scientifically shown the evidence what we have to do to reduce the open burning waste. But also one point that there was no open burning on the landfill site, while you could find open waste burning on roadside. But probably this is one of the points that we have to discuss probably later. So Ritsuki, thank you for your short presentation.
Thank you.
Yeah, so now let's hear the other practices of open waste burning from Stuyvesant City. So let me invite Mr. Utsureti, the Director Composite representing the Stuyvesant City, Cambodia. So Mr. Utsureti, you have floor.
Yes, thank you very much. Let me share the screen. Okay. First of all, I would like to greeting our partner from IHS, and especially the representative from the Stuyvesant municipality, Mr. Dalan, and we are strongly supported to have this project as mentioned by Dr. Rajiv, and also we would like to appreciate for the technical support to have such study in the Stungshan municipality to bring up the challenge on waste management, especially the open burning that focus on the black carbon emission that contribute to the climate change impact. So I would like to briefly, the slide is still not moving. I don't know the slide not moving.
Could you secretariat help him to move next slide if possible?
Please try sharing again. Can you see the slide moving?
Yes, now we are seeing the second slide.
Okay, thank you. Because I think the full slideshow is not functioning well. So I would like to highlight about the waste flow in Stungshan municipality. We have estimated around 35.5 ton waste generation per day, and we have collected about 28 ton per day, and there are also some informal collection from the source, about 1.3 ton per day, and of course there's some remaining uncollected waste, and final disposal is at around 28 ton, which we are going to identify within the study on the open burning at the disposal site as well as at the waste generated source. So similar to the Da Nang municipality or city, we have a very large amount of organic waste, up to 50%, and plastic follow about 23%, and some paper about 8%. And of course, there are some other waste composition like hazardous waste and some textile, glass, or litter, and so on. The open burning at the source we have identified at the household, commercial institution, and some public place, and also the disposal site. We have the total open burning of waste is estimated around 7.5 ton per day at daily burn, and also the per capita base open burning is around 127 gram per day per person. And in Stungshan, we can see the source burning is around 21%. The major burning is at the disposal site, and also of course some uncollected waste also practiced by open burning of 62.9%, and also there's some dump illegally. The emission of black carbon relating to open burning of waste, we estimated with the support from the IHS CCAT, and you can see in the table we have the waste burning of around 7 ton per day, and the emission of black carbon is climate impact up to the up to 6,603 ton per year. It's that contribute to the climate or global impact. Yeah, as I just mentioned, this more we can see here the open burning contribute from the household, and we find no burning at the commercial area, but there are some at the institute and also at the public place where they don't have a way of full collection service or coverage, and the disposal side also create the large amount of the open burning in the municipality. Yeah, according to the finding, we can see about the impact from the waste burning by the black carbon emission up to 43.7% at the disposal side, and followed by the household about 21.7%, and institute and public place and so on. And the black carbon emission from the annual burning is at the municipality is equivalent to the 6,603 equivalent CO2. And we can also identify that the key improvement we need to taking into account the efficiency of the improved waste collection, and as well as the appropriate technology for to treat the collected waste, especially the try to promote waste separation at source and something like that, and especially the stakeholder need to identify the challenge and the impact on waste management with together with the authority, the public people, and also the waste collection company. Together we can try to stop or reduce this impact from waste management. Thank you very much. And our colleague from Stung San municipality will also share about what we can together figure out how to reduce the impact from waste management in Stung San. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Tsuleti, for your presentation. So I now recognize 2 questions and 1 raising hand, but we have only 24 more minutes of our second part, which is a panel discussion. But let me ask Rajiv to try to answer the question in writing. So there are 2 technical questions. Probably Rajiv may be able to write some answer to them. And if we have the time at the end of the our second part of the session, so I plan to open the floor for any question and answers. So then now let's move to our second part, which is the panel discussion. So now we are today with 5 experts: the Nirmala from IGES, Ngong Darren from the Star Sen City, and Marizo from the Padang City, and Sandra from UNEP CCSC, and Carmela from the UNIDO. So now we have just heard the practices and experiences in 2 cities of open waste burning. And then we'd like to hear how international initiatives and organizations combat the issue of the open waste burning based on their experiences. So then let me ask my colleague Sandra for your presentations to our panel discussion. So Sandra, you have floor.
Thank you, Handa-san. Let me go ahead and just share my screen really quickly. Can you please confirm that you can see my screen?
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Hi, everybody. My name is Sandra Masonik, as Shushini Handa mentioned. I work for the Climate and Clean Air Coalition Secretariat. So I'm just going to give a very brief introduction to what CCAC does and how is it that we are working to reduce open burning of waste So the Climate and Clean Air Coalition was established in 2012 to support urgent and collective action on short-lived climate pollutants. It is a voluntary partnership focused on action. Since 2012, the coalition has grown into a global network that with membership from 73 countries and 78 international organizations and NGOs that are carrying activities around the world in the economic sector. The coalition is a cooperative group led by state partners. We focus on achieving high-level political engagement, which is critical for driving change around the world. Like I mentioned, our main goal is to reduce short-lived climate pollutants, and basically these are four. These are basically what are shown here: black carbon, methane, tropospheric ozone, and HFCs. These short-lived climate pollutants are climate forces many times more powerful than carbon dioxide. They are pollutants that are harmful to people, ecosystems, and agricultural productivity, and they're present in the atmosphere for a few days and up to a few years. That's why they're called short-lived climate pollutants. So we focus on taking fast action to achieve quick results and achieve multiple benefits because of all the impacts that they have. The solutions that we promote are basically science-based, and we work with all our partners to promote leadership and awareness. As Rajiv mentioned earlier, open burning of waste produces many contaminants, including black carbon, which is a short-lived climate pollutant. But black carbon also comes from the use of polluting collection vehicles. As you can see in this slide, there are many other sources of black carbon, but one of the fifth source is waste, and 5% is one of the source of black carbon is waste. 5% of it comes from it. We can see the many impacts that it has on the environment, and including one of the main impacts is on health, but it also has other impacts as such in the economy, and also in also impacting other sectors of the countries. Just to let you know, because I have a very short time. So the CCAC from the waste side focuses on three main areas. One of them is basically open burning of waste to prevent it because of all the black carbon. So we carry out activities around the world with the objective to increase knowledge, resources, and technical and institutional capacity to act. Mobilize support for action at all levels of government, the private sector, and civil society, increase the availability of and access to financial resources to support implementation at scale, and also enhance scientific knowledge to help decision makers scale up action and promote the multiple benefits of action. In the waste side, particularly, we work to promote locally appropriate actions, including some mentioned is the community-based waste management, kind of really working to have better communication campaigns with the households that are mostly responsible for the open burning, also working with the informal sector and increasing that coverage of waste services, among others. So this is basically what we do from the CCAC side, and that's all from my side. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you, Sandra. Also, thank you for your time today, despite very early morning for you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And then probably the Sandra's presentation answered some of the questions that we received from the question box. But they like to continue hearing the international experiences. So next presenter is Carmela from the UNIDO. I believe that she will be sharing the experiences of the open burning issue at the industrial aspect. So let me invite Carmela for your presentations. Carmela?
Let me just find my screen. I can't seem to find my presentation. It was here earlier, but anyway, okay, here it is. So now I think it's okay.
Yes, I can see your slides.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. So good afternoon, everyone. And it's always a pleasure, of course, to be part of such an initiative. And on behalf of the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, we would like to thank mainly CCET and of course CCAC for the invitation and for making UNIDO a part of this initiative. Good afternoon, everyone. So basically, my presentation will focus here on the initiatives that UNIDO has been doing on the open burning activities in Asia. So basically, this is a GEF-funded project involving 5 countries, and of course, it is implemented by UNIDO. So just a brief overview of the organization. So we are the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, and within the UN family, we of course are responsible for the promotion of industrial development. So we foster SDG 9, which is on industry, innovation, and infrastructure. And maybe the question that you will be asking is what is an industrial development organization doing in the open burning issue of countries now? So the one of the program that we have, or the function that we have in UNIDO, is that we assist member states to meet their obligations to multilateral environmental agreements, but we focus more on industry-related provisions. So why the project? As part of this mandate on helping countries meet their obligation to the convention, one of the priorities of the countries, at least in Asia and Africa, which was brought up to our attention, is open burning as part of their obligation to the Stockholm Convention on Persistent Organic Pollutants. So open burning emerged as one of their priority sector or priority activity for the reduction of unintentionally produced POPs. So earlier there was really a huge discussion on black carbon and all the other emissions coming out from open burning activities, and basically, of course, that shows its environmental and health impacts. So for the UNIDO project, we focus more on dioxin releases, again, as part of the Dirty Dozen clusters of the Stockholm Convention chemicals. So open burning accounts for about 1 kilogram TEQ per year of dioxin releases in the 5 participating countries in the project. And some of the main sources include biomass burning from agricultural residue, sugar cane, from forest fires. Now, basically, this is a practice that I think most of the countries are still applying in their agricultural sector. And then we have the waste burning and accidental fires, which covers both the dump site and backyard burning. So when we did the baselining, of course, for this project, we see that there needs to be an improvement on the waste management systems, including infrastructures of the countries. And at the same time, we look at policy-based solutions as well. So this is the project in capsule. So it's entitled Demonstration of Best Available Techniques and Best Environmental Practices in Open Burning Sector in response to the Stockholm Convention on Persistent Organic Pollutants. So again, the project was geared towards meeting the obligation towards the convention. So the objective primarily, as mentioned, is basically on coming up with a more industry relevant kind of an intervention. So we would like to create, or we created, in fact, resource efficient waste management systems for the reduction of UPOPs through the introduction of BAT and BEP in open burning sources. Our main executing partners in the 5 countries, namely Cambodia, Laos PDR, Mongolia, Philippines, and Vietnam, are from the Ministries of Environment in each participating country. It is a $7.5 million US project funded by the Global Environment Facility, and we were able to leverage a co-financing of about $32 million US. It is a 5-year duration and ending this June 2022 already. One of the commitment that we envisaged in the project is a 93% reduction of potential dioxin emission. So from the interventions that we have planned from the preparatory phase of the project, which is around 38, which would emit around 38 grams TEQ per year of unintentionally produced POPs, we would like to reduce it to 2.5 gram TEQ per year. And at the same time, since we would like to see whether we have really created a resource-efficient waste management system through the introduction of recycling systems, we would like also to see the value of recyclable that are obtained from the demonstration facilities. So I'm sharing this screen stating that definitely there is money in trash. So we marketed it as a from trash to resource. So you're reducing open burning through the establishment of material recycling facilities in the region, or particularly in the 5 countries. At the same time, we look at the social impact of what we are doing on looking at jobs creation of the waste pickers, which are normally present in open dump sites in the countries, to workers inside the material recycling facilities. So these are our some photos of our interventions in Cambodia. We have COMPED and the province of Battambang as our partners in this particular project. So we did a composting facility in the COMPED area. We did also material recycling facility in Battambang in the former ADB site. At the same time, we have a plastic sector, a private sector partner producing plastics, and we provided a better equipment for plastic recycling. In Laos, we did also the provision of a material recycling facility. So from this former site to this particular intervention. Mongolia is a very interesting case, at least for me, because we built a special landfill site through the assistance of the local government unit of Ulaanbaatar for ashes. So in Mongolia during winter, normally people living in communities or gear dump their ashes in a normal solid waste bin. So to be able to avoid that, which of course induces then open burning in the dump site location. So what we did is to come up with containers for the ash, a special container for the ash, and now being secured or dumped or properly managed in a special cell in the landfill. For the Philippines, it's the same thing. So from this particular site that you see, this is now what we have, or at least part of the dump site that we have. We have now a material recycling facility as well, and then a composting facility. In Vietnam, it's a different thing. The interventions are more related to the private sector producing plastics. We have our pilot sites is a craft village in Phan Doi, and we provided better technologies for plastic recycling. So in terms of the outputs of the project, other than the policy-based work, the capacity building and awareness raising work, the global environment commitment that we have, at least for the GEF, of 38, a reduction of from 38 milligram TEQ per year, the intervention actually achieved a reduction of 41 milligram TEQ per year. So basically, these are the results of all the interventions that we did in the country. So it met the global environment objective that we have set from the very beginning. And at the same time, I think there is really more a consciousness now on possibilities of putting up recycling as an industry itself, and which we are hoping to transition into a more sustainable and replicable circular economy for our participating countries. So thank you very much. And of course, we will be happy to respond to your questions later on.
Thank you, Camila, for sharing the good result, how those cities could shift from the open buying side of the waste management to resource efficiency and circular economy. So we may be able to have this point for our discussion probably later. But the colleagues, so we have 7 minutes left, but let me a little bit go beyond our time, probably 10 more minutes. And then also we may not be able to have the time to open the floor for any questions. But if you have any questions, please post your question to the question box. So we will try to answer your questions as early as possible after the webinars. And then, so let's have discussions, a panel discussion with the panelists. So we have heard the practices and the experiences of open waste burning in 2 cities. And then first, I'd like to ask my question to Mr. Guang Darren from the Stuyvesant City, because we understand that there are open waste burning practices in your cities. And I think the open burning waste are happening many places in the cities. Then I think that the city government recognizes the reality that people need to rely on open burning waste. But my question to Mr. Guang Darren is, how does your city take actions to reduce open waste burning? And what is measures that your city introduced to reduce open waste burning? So Mr. Guang Darren, so could you answer my questions?
Can you hear?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah. First of all, my name is Dalan. I'm the representative from Stuyvesant Municipality in Cambodia. And the question you did mention itself, what is going on in Stuyvesant City, the open burning waste, especially at the dump site, is a very sensitive issue here, but not many people take it seriously. So currently we are looking into whether it was done by people or by, and from our study, I can tell you most of the time it was burning by itself at the dump site due to a few reasons. So first of all, Cambodia is a very country with humid air. So on average, it could reach up to 42 degrees Celsius or 107 Fahrenheit. And second, separation of waste whatsoever in here. So from the place where we produce waste, there's no separation. To the final disposal, there's no separation. And from the data shown by composite Mr. I'm sorry if that name. Composite organization showed waste collected can be recycled up to 50%. So then the current dumping size being unregulated. We there relation. Municipality does not have resource in dealing with waste. We have investment, we have no incentive. We have very little support from the government. So we are into an alternative and using the money to deal with the waste. So we hoping for the support from the NGO, especially in the environment sector, and all the other 3 reasons I mentioned, plus the gas, the methane producing in the landfill, the dump site, it can easily cause the open burning at the dump site. So in brief you a little bit about Stung San City. In general, the population is about 70,000 people here. So it's roughly 3% or 2% of the total population in Cambodia. And the city produces approximately 35 to 36 tons of waste per day. And only 85% of it is being collected. So about 15 or equal to 5 tons is being burned in public property at home. So far, how does the municipality deal with that? We impose some law penalty on those that does not use the waste collecting service, as well as burning their waste in public or in their property. So in theory, it seems that it's doable and we have been doing it. But I can tell you in practice, it's very difficult in dealing with that, with people, the burning waste, and it's not really that effective. The problem here is not really how to stop them from burning the waste, from burning itself. It's how to persuade people to take waste management seriously and to believe that burning waste could threaten the environment, the community they are living in, also affect their family health and their livelihood. Well, there's also another issue here in the city that some people believe it's not really their responsibility. It's the authorities, the municipality with the waste, and they are paying tax. So it's the authority duty and their job. By the waste, you need to spend money in dealing with it. So people usually choosing the cheaper way in dealing with waste. So the obvious one would be burning it. Some of this, the solution the municipality come up with so far, we actually, I did mention that the current landfill or the dump site is being unregulated. So we are currently building a new landfill to tackle the issue. The new landfill will be about 20 hectares inside below the city. This time with proper equipment and deal with waste properly. And hopefully there's no more waste burning at because we got the resource, we got the support from the Asia Development Bank, ADB. So it's a great news for the city. And the second solution we have done, we are planning to do new adjustment to the waste collecting fee. So to make it as low as possible, so to make it affordable, so that it can change people toward wasting money on waste. You know, people believe that dealing with waste is a waste of money. By actually could save some money instead, and you also start to contribute to the environment issue as well. And the third one, we are actually currently working with composite organization to separate the recycled material to compost fertilizer. So I did mention that in the city can be recycled up to 50%, right? So by recycle to divided it and half of them go to the dump site, we can reuse the total waste being collected to the landfill. So the real issue here, I want to capture this and I want to make take everyone's attention. The solution to dealing with the waste burning, whether it is at the dump site, in public or at home, is to make people actually care about the waste, to start waste as soon as possible. And by doing so, we believe that should integrate the management into the education system. So currently the city is looking for the support in raising awareness about the of proper waste management. So hopefully we can start it from secondary education level. And because I believe that is everyone's responsibility, not just adults, even our children should care about waste. And by integrating the waste management in their education, it would make such an impact on how we're dealing with waste every single day. So thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. So there are so many actions to be taken, and because open burning waste is not a simple issue, and we have to take integrated approach among a lot of options that we have to take. And then also let me ask a similar question to our friend from Indonesia, the Marizon, the head of the Environment Agency, Pandan City, Indonesia, based on the presentation by Rizky. Because Rizky shared one particular point that there was no open burning of waste on the landfill sites, but there are open burning of waste on roadside. In this case, we may need to take a bit of a different approach to reduce open burning of waste. And then we'd like to know, how does Pandan City, your city, take measures or actions to manage or to control or to stop open burning sites? So Marizon?
Yeah. In Padang City, there are two ways to manage the garbage. First, the reduction, and the second is handling the waste. So here, right now, the government has a budget for handling, but it's still not enough, because we still have lack of infrastructure for the garbage itself. So, for example, when the society wants every 100 or 200 meters from the house, there is a container for the temporary collecting point for garbage, we cannot provide that. That's for the right. We support the reduction of garbage itself, but the reduction of garbage is also have problems with the garbage bank is not working properly, because the garbage bank has no budget for operational. So also the education for the people how to segregation the garbage is still low. That is why the open burning happened in Padang, just because the society, the people take the easiest way, the cheapest way to remove the garbage itself. So for the handling from the government, the society, the people still feel that they can the government can fulfill their need to take away the garbage from their houses, and to pay the bills or pay some money to collect the garbage, they won't do that. That is why the cheapest way, the easiest way to remove the garbage from their houses is by burning it. So what things we have done to reduce the open burning is, first, we try to educate people that you should separate the garbage, do the segregation, and make sure that the garbage bank is work. But still, just like I said, that the budget for the operational for garbage bank is not enough. Then we also try to fulfill the infrastructure for the garbage management. For example, we provide the rickshaw and things, containers, but it is the motorcycle to take away the garbage from the houses to the temporary collecting point or container. We try to provide it, but just again because of the lack of the budget, it's not. For example, we need 100. We only can provide only 20. That's only still not enough. Then we increase the supervision for the garbage illegal dumping. So we try to minimize the open burning, the illegal dump site by put some men, 2 or 3 men in the illegal dump site. So by doing that, we hope that the garbage is not burned or illegal dumped anymore. And then now we are trying to get some funding in order to do the RDF plan, refuse derived fuel. So we are for the feasibility study is done, and it's by Mr. Rizky Aziz from the Andalas University, and the feasibility study said that we are worth it. The RDF plan is worth it to do here in Padang, because we have 2 obstacles. First, cement plant, and also the PLTU. So for the funding, we are trying to get the central government funding for the public work ministry. That's all.
Thank you, Marizon, for your sharing information. So also there was similarity of the answers, how we have to reduce the open burning of waste to the Cambodian case, that we also need to focus on like upstream management or education or other point, like segregation waste, transportation, and so on. So that is, I think, good answer for our further discussion. And then because now actually 11 past the time we are supposed to finish. So let me little bit change our time schedule. So I wanted to ask the question to Sandro and the camera, but probably we unfortunately don't have time to answer question to you. But let me ask one more question to Nirmala, the IGS colleagues, because we now understand that at least the 2 cities, the Pandan city and then Stang Seng city, have scientific data supported by your team, and they have some scientific evidence of open burning and open burning of waste, but they are facing lots of challenges or practices, how they actually reduce open burning of waste. So could you tell us what is your thought about how those cities or other cities fill the gap between the scientific evidence and the data and the challenges? So how they can use the scientific data and how they can take actions based on the scientific evidence and the data. So Nirmala, could you answer or give your thought about the gap between the data and the practices and the challenges? So Nirmala?
Thank you very much, Honda-san. When we talk about about environmental impact, there are two major impacts we can see related to open burning. One is the atmospheric pollution, which is closely linked with damage to human health. But based on our previous study, I would like to highlight the climate impact related to open burning. In general, people believe that if we dispose waste at a dump site, maybe deep dump site or landfill without gas recovery system, that would be the worst treatment option in terms of climate change. But today, I want to highlight some results based on our study. Open burning is even worse than the open dumping. You can see the results of these two cities. And here I would like to highlight the results of Padang City, Indonesia. In the red bar shows you the overall climate impact if they dump waste in a deep dump site, that is basically due to the emission of methane. And this tall bar, you can see this is the overall climate impact from the open burning. That is not only due to the fossil-based carbon dioxide emission, but also due to the black carbon emission, fossil-based carbon dioxide emission, and methane emission. What this figure give you, like if this open burning practice creates substantial emission as compared to the open dumping practice. It's the similar situation for in the Cambodia or elsewhere. So during our study, we identify several data gaps and challenges related to the each of these cities. One of the major data gap that we notice, lack of understanding in open burning and its climate impact, unavailability of tangible information, especially for the policy and decision-making process, is another issue that we notice. Most of the time, expert judgment has been used, or too many assumptions has been used in the decision-making process, especially due to the lack of, lack of city-specific or lack of municipality-specific data. In addition, we identify that in the city level, they don't have enough capacity, and also lack of financial and other resources for conducting, data gathering process, or maybe to conduct proper surveys to gather the data in the field level. Apart from all this, unwillingness of general public in data sharing is one of the major drawbacks we notice, because as other presenters mentioned, most of the time we see open burning at the household level, at the roadside or backyard, but they are not willing to share how much waste they are burning or what would be their contribution for this burning practice. These are the major, data gaps and challenges we notice in the cities that we conducted the survey in Asia. In order to overcome these limitations, these are some of my recommendations. First of all, awareness raising and capacity development at city level is very important. And then allocation of adequate funds and resources, especially the technical support and financial support, and getting the cooperation from general public is very important for the data gathering process, or conducting proper surveys to gather and report the data related to open burning. Once the cities estimate the actual emissions and actual climate impact from open burning, then cities must accept the responsibility of using them to enforcement of laws or the enforcement of policies to ban the waste burning at their city level. The last, Last thing that I would suggest to do, they have to introduce alternative practices like improved waste collection service or alternatives for the waste avoidance at the burning places at present. So if the city can, practice all these steps, I think in the future we can significantly reduce the open burning occurrences at city level and its impact on climate change. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nirma. So let me take 2 points from your presentations or explanation. So open burning or open waste burning is the actually practically the cheapest operation, but it is the most expensive if we consider about the pollution caused by the open burning. That is the message from you. And then similar to colleagues from the 2 cities, so we need to take the action on packages, like awareness raising and securing fund and measures, and then collaboration among the lots of colleagues, and also we have to put the rules in practice, and then to introduce such practices with our colleagues. So Nirma, thank you for your presentations. So originally we planned to ask some question to Sandra and the camera, but unfortunately we don't have enough time. And then we have to conclude our webinar. But before that, let me a little bit summarize our webinars today. So as Rajiv introduced, the open burning of waste is one of the common practices, and there are so many practices. And many countries and cities still rely on open burning because it is the cheapest. But as Nirma mentioned, it is the most expensive operations. And then there are 2 cities kindly shared their experiences of practices of open burning of waste. And then, but they also try to make every effort to reduce open burning of waste by introducing measures, including the education, so separation, segregation, and also how to stop burning of waste on the landfill site or on the roadsides. But we have to think about how we can make it package approach, as Nirma mentioned. Only single solution does not work to reduce open burning of waste. So we have to think about how we can integrate available options as much as possible as one package solution. Then we have to introduce those packages within the context of each cities. Then also we have to continue educating the people why we should not do open burning of waste. So if they know that open burning of waste causes huge impact of the environment and human health, they may understand that this is not a good option to reduce amount of the waste. So we have to shift our waste management system to environmentally sound management on resource efficiency, as Camera mentioned. So that is actually the key points today's of seminar or webinars. And as Rajiv mentioned, that this is just first webinar, and then I guess we'll be able to organize another series of the webinars on probably open burning. But the next time we should have more time to allow the colleagues for further discussions. Probably we may have 2-hour sessions to have enough time to discuss technically, scientifically, politically, practically how we can reduce open burning of waste. So with that, let me turn my microphone to Miwa-san to close our webinars. Miwa-san, please.
Thank you so much, Honda-san, for your facilitation today. And thank you all for your participation in this session. As I mentioned at the beginning, please kindly fill out the online questionnaire to give us your feedback on this webinar. The questionnaire will be shown in your browser when you leave the session. As Honda-san mentioned, CCT is planning to organize the second session of this open burning webinar series within a few months, and the details will be shared once fixed. So hope that see you again there. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.